You're watching news now on News Central TV. I am Judith TV. The top stories at this hour. Military concludes the investigation, indicts 2 officers in the 2023 Tudun Biri drone attack. President Boakai signs order to set up war crimes tribunal in Liberia. Kenya, Tanzania brace for Cyclone Hidaya amidst heavy rains. Details shortly. We'll begin the news with security matters as the Nigerian military has completed its investigation into the drone bombing of Tudun Biri village in Kaduna State, indicting 2 Nigerian army officers. The officers will face court-martial as the operation should not have occurred. Now, the Director of Defense Media Operations, Edward Buba, revealed this during a press briefing at the Defense Headquarters on Thursday. Now, the bombing of Tudun Biri village in Kaduna State, which took place on December 3rd of 2023, resulted in numerous casualties during a Maulud celebration. 2 days later, the National Emergency Management Agency reported burying 85 bodies. Joining us on the news is Melvin Eje. He's the Executive Director of Global Peace and Life Rescue Initiative, and he joins us live now to discuss this. Many thanks for coming on, and let's get started, Melvin. Now, if the officers had some technical expertise, how easy would it have been to tamper with or even bypass drone security protocols?
I think I will start my commendation with the President, Commander-in-Chief of the Armed Forces, the Chief of Defense Staff, and the entire service chief for staying true to their word, for staying committed to what they promised to do, that at the end of the day, they are going to unveil the truth behind this massacre. This is first of its kind in Nigeria. This is first of its kind that the Nigerian government, Federal Republic of Nigeria, and the armed forces is taking responsibility for this action. So for them to have come out with the names of, details of the attack, for them to have stated very clearly that the errors are from the military, it is quite commendable. I think Nigerians should rise up to commend this set of public officers that we have currently in our society today. Well, even no matter how professional they can be, the errors in operation is something that you should expect naturally, especially when you are fighting asymmetric warfare. It's not unusual. It is not, even in advanced country, it does happen. So yes, errors have been made, but I think it's not something that should be too alarming. It happened everywhere around the world that we have errors in operations. Yes, some officers have been indicted, and I commend the military for staying true, for trying to court-martial them. One thing I want Nigerians to know is to see that, yes, there are no sheriffs in town who are willing to do this job, who are willing to speak truth to its people.
All right, Melvin, let's talk about this in just in more clear terms, right? And talk about the drone attacks. You said in your response there that that this is the first of its kind happening in Nigeria, but now we're seeing that our intelligence have now had access to technology such as this, and this is very high-tech things. We're talking about drone attacks. What steps can be taken to prevent similar attacks from occurring in the future?
The mere fact that the Nigerian military have come out with a commission of inquiry that have unraveled the identity of the officers who commit these acts, it's actually a step in the right direction. And also, I think the military needs to build its capacity more in terms of technology to be able to get officers who are well-grounded before they can go to the field to use such high certification. Like I said, I will maintain, I'm not trying to hold brief for the officers who have been indicted, but this is asymmetric warfare. And issues like this will happen once in a while. But military should continue to build capacity. Military should invest high in technology. Military should also ensure that officers who commit such infraction will be punished. Once they know that there's a deterrent, they'll be careful in how they carry out operations in our various communities. I think these are the things I intend to mention.
Well, Melvin, many thanks for coming on. I appreciate you for doing this with us.
Thank you for having me. Do have a nice time.
We'll move away from that now, and this time to the south of Nigeria. The question is, why would a mother carry a pregnancy for 9 months, birth the child, and after a year and 4 months decided to end the child's life? Now, this is the riddle that the police in Delta State is still trying to solve. Now, the suspect is currently in the custody of the police in Asaba, the Delta State capital, and investigations are ongoing. News Central's Austin Azu completes the story.
Recently, residents of Delta State have expressed concerns over the current insecurity challenges across the state. The Delta State Commissioner of Police is here to address the media about the recent achievements.
Men of the press and Deltans were told of the deployment of this special deployment to Ughelli axis. I would like to tell you that we have made tremendous progress. Then I told you there were 3 gangs who have picked up a number of people.
The Delta State Police Command informed journalists of the arrest of a 24-year-old lady from Isoko South local government area of the state, said to have dumped her child of 1 year and 4 months old in a well along the road in Araya community, Isoko South local government area. The CP said children who went to play around the tree discovered the abandoned child floating on the well.
For us, it's a sad one. You will not know what it is that will make a mother dump a child into the well. It's an unfortunate thing.
Other achievements recounted by the police include arrest of a suspect who produces fake alcoholic drinks. Others are arrest of a suspected kidnappers, notorious car snatchers, cultists, armed robbers, rescue of kidnapped victims, recovering of 12 vehicles, arms and ammunition.
I'm assuring Nigerians in general and Deltas in particular that the policing strategies adopted in Ughelli will be replicated in other areas where we might be having similar challenges. My promise to the good people of Delta State remains the same, which is to ensure that Delta sleep with their 2 eyes closed.
The arrested suspects involved in infanticide and others narrated their level of involvement.
I did have the attention to kill my own child because my father rejected the baby and my grandmother rejected me and the baby too. And my parents that gave birth to me as late. Look back, I look front, I did not see anybody. That is why I did it.
I was just sitting inside a keke, then probably we'll just move around. Maybe when the 6th person, well, just to entice people to enter inside the keke, then that's just the role I play inside, then I will move out from there.
The State Commissioner of Police has called for the support of residents of the state for effective policing system in the state. But meanwhile, this suspect being paraded for various offenses will have their various days in courts. In Asaba, Delta State for News Central, Austin Azu.
And in Lagos State, where images are circulating on social media on Thursday, had it that the popular Ile-Epo market in Lagos was set ablaze after several gangs clashed in the area. But apparently, this isn't the case. The fire came from an abandoned dumpster in the area and not the market. Our correspondent, Bernard Akadi, visited the dumpster and reports.
Contrary to stories on social media, the Ile-Epo market is safe. The fire was from an abandoned dumpster close to the market. Firefighters could be seen trying to put out the fire, which was now fueled by plastic waste, sending poisonous smoke into the atmosphere, while police officers patrolled the area to maintain law and order. According to social media, rival gangs from opposing ethnic groups had a clash, which resulted in setting the market on fire. On arriving the scene, there were different accounts as to what exactly happened, and most of the eyewitnesses chose to speak off camera, except for this recycler who claimed to have lost about 4 million naira's worth of goods to the fire.
I heard that a boy played Baba Ijebu, and I think whether they say he won 14,000 and they pay him 12,000 naira. That is what caused the issue in the market, not here. But I don't know why they brought the issue to this dump site to destroy our material. Like this morning, my truck was parked there. I was about loading when the police came and chased everybody out. Now they have destroyed the whole thing with their fire. There is the police people that put the fire here.
We made attempts to go further into the dumpster for further investigation, but had to turn back for health and safety reasons.
Thankfully, the situation is not as bad as was earlier thought. The market is safe and has not been burnt down. But there clearly are concerns from this particular story. First is the environmental hazard from setting dumpsters like this ablaze. People living around are exposed to smoke, which clearly is unhealthy. Then there's the case of plastic waste, which has been a topic of conversation for so many years. Plastic like this can burn for several hours. And then, of course, there's the case of safety around dumpsters like this as well. Dumpsters can harbor criminal activities. The hope is that the government will put all its attention to all of these issues raised from here. In Lagos for News Central, I'm Bernard Akede.
We'll stay with Lagos State, and it's no secret that the Lagos State government is grappling with a housing deficit. Now let's bring you a special report on the demolition of illegal dolphin underbridge settlement. The Lagos State government has uncovered a network of makeshift apartments beneath the Dolphin Estate Bridge in the Highborough area of Ikoyi, where tenants reportedly paid 250,000 naira per annum for a room. In this special report, News Central's special correspondent on investigative journalism, Marshal Anthony Anoye, reports that over 300 illegal occupants have been affected by this discovery. His report.
This video of a man taking his bath under the Dolphin Estate Bridge at the Ikoyi axis of Lagos State was received by the Lagos State's Commissioner for Environment and Water Resources, Tokunbo Wahab, sent to him by a concerned citizen on Tuesday. Upon receiving the video, the Commissioner swung into action, immediately ordering the commander of the enforcement team of the ministry, retired Major O.O. Cole, to move to the location and secure the property from illegal settlers and environmental violators. Arriving at the location the next day, Major Cole and his men were amazed at what they found.
I'm not showing my ID card. You are living here, are you living here? Yes.
A total of 86 rooms partitioned with woods and other materials and a metal container allegedly used for different illegal activities were discovered under the Dolphin Estate Bridge. Tenants here part with a sum of 250,000 naira per annum for the makeshift apartments under the bridge. The occupants have since been evicted and demolition of the apartments long begun.
All the sand put under the bridge for a kind of protection, they were excavated and they started putting structures, 86 rooms. You can imagine somebody removing sand that's going to give protection to a facility, a bridge, and putting structure there and collecting money from people. That is sabotage.
These occupants are said to have carried on with normal daily life under the bridge with their families sleeping, cooking, congregating, and some others walking and soliciting for customers, as was the case of the commercial sex workers that were alleged to have run a brothel at the location. This posed an obvious recipe for disaster, as it was discovered that some occupants had gallons of fuel stored up for their generators in these makeshifts constructed majorly with wooded materials.
Who collect money from you for this place?
Mopo.
Mopo?
Then.
Mopo?
Yes.
How much?
250.
And last month we came here, but though the man gave my mom 50,000 naira yesterday, and he said he will see us today. So we don't know, maybe he will come back or not.
This is how the residents, the occupants of this illegal shanty that was constructed right under the Dolphin Bridge, were set to be getting access to water which they use to carry out domestic activities and cooking as well.
Back at the office, armed with just the payment receipt obtained from one of the tenants, we extracted a phone number believed to be that of the man at the center of it all, simply known as Mopol, whose real name we discovered is Benga Emmanuel Oluwafemi.
No estate chairman in Dolphin that will never say that he did not know me. Even there are some people in Lagos State that they are in power in Lagos State, that they live in that place. They know us very well. Blue container, they demolished, they cut this morning. That container has been there for going to 15 years now. That the previous government did it for us here. The person that did this container, Festus Kiyamo, he was the one passing by. He said, what are we doing here? We said that we are security to the district. He said that if we are security, where are you people hiding yourself? If rain is falling, where are you people staying? He said, okay, don't worry, I will complain, I will know what to do. They will come and build little things. I've never refunded any money to anybody, and I don't think I've ever, if I'm collecting 250,000, I will not be in that place again.
Mr. Benga denied collecting money from anyone, contrary to evidence of payment receipts for tenancy obtained from some evicted occupants. The growth of population in metropolitan Lagos has assumed geometrical proportion, and the provision of urban infrastructure and housing to meet this demand is not at a commensurate level. An online report by Business Day in February 2023 says this has resulted in an acute shortage of housing for the teeming population, with Lagos alone accounting for about 5 million deficit, representing 31% of the estimated national housing deficit of 18 million. Lagosians are not likely to have seen the last of such shanties or makeshift apartments, especially under the numerous bridges in Lagos State. Neither have we seen the last of the operations of officers and men from the enforcement team of the State Ministry of Environment, as they hope to carry out more raids and dismantling of illegal settlements in the coming days. For News Central, Marshal Anthony Onoye.
You're watching News Now on News Central TV. We'll take a short break. Stay with us. Justice Kehinde Ogundare of the Federal High Court, sitting in Ikoyi, Lagos on Thursday, May 2nd, 2024, adjourned the further hearing in the trial of Pascal Okechukwu, a.k.a. Cubana Chief, till June 5th, 2024. Okechukwu was arraigned on Wednesday, April 17th, 2024, by the EFCC on a 3-count charge bordering on abuse of the naira. 2 of the counts read that Okechukwu Pascal abused the naira on 2 separate events. At the resumed sitting of the court on Thursday, Okechukwu, through his lawyer Chika Osulu Ojukwu, told the court about a plan by his client to enter a plea bargain with the EFCC. Ojukwu also sought to withdraw his earlier preliminary objection filed on April 24, 2024, challenging the jurisdiction of the court to entertain the charge. The prosecution counsel did not oppose the withdrawal of the application. Earlier, we were joined on the news by a legal practitioner, Elvis Asia. Take a look.
The relevant provisions of the EFCC Act, which the lawyer referred to, clearly gives the EFCC the powers to compound an offense. Compounding meaning that the EFCC can have an arrangement with the defendant, you have a settlement arrangement with the defendant to pay some money or fine or whatever, in exchange for the withdrawal of the action. So it's something that is open, that's open to the defendant to do. And of course, don't also forget that there are also issues as to whether or not the EFCC actually has the legal competence to prosecute this kind of charge. And so, both parties can decide to meet midway. And again, the whole idea of trying to discourage the abuse of Naira, which has become an epidemic in our society, to some extent been achieved without not there's a settlement. At least now people are aware that it is criminal to abuse the Naira the way and manner we have been doing over the years.
In commemoration of the 2024 World Press Freedom Day, the Nigerian Guild of Editors has reaffirmed that media freedom and freedom of expression and access to public information are crucial to democracy and must be at the heart of the Nigerian government's values and actions. The professional body of editors and media executives in Nigeria made this known in a statement signed by its president, Eze Anaba, and the General Secretary, Dr. Yobosa Onwogiran, on Thursday. The NGE said this year's World Press Freedom Day provides an opportunity for stakeholders in the media community to continue to drum it to the hearing of both state and non-state actors about the importance of press freedom and the challenges being faced by journalists, including censorship, harassment, and imprisonment and violence. This year is dedicated to emphasizing the importance of good journalism amidst the current global environmental crisis. And now to corruption. Anti-corruption stakeholders and pro-transparency organizations have raised an alarm over an alleged plot to sabotage the fight against corruption in Nigeria. They made this warning in the nation's capital, Abuja, saying there is a plan to target the nation's anti-corruption agencies and the judiciary. Joshua Imarai tells us more.
With Nigeria's anti-graft agencies targeting high-profile politically exposed persons, many will admit that the war against graft is on course. Pro-transparency agencies in Nigeria have, however, raised an alarm over an alleged plot by some individuals to stifle the effort against corruption. They say efforts are already in play to sabotage the recent successes achieved and have concluded plans to shield wanted persons from scrutiny and investigation.
Over the past few weeks, we have observed with great concern the malicious attacks and deliberate effort to blackmail anti-corruption agencies through sponsorship, influencers, insensitive opinion publication in some national dailies, online and electronic platforms, all targeted at discouraging anti-corruption efforts and shielding people who have actually looted this country from being investigated.
The agencies are saying that this is a clear case of corruption fighting back. Some of them believe that to effectively combat corruption and make significant strides towards progress, it is crucial to adopt a cohesive strategy that ensures that the anti-corruption war is no respecter of persons.
We recommend the following. 1, growing concerns over the declining levels of autonomy and integrity of the judiciary must be addressed. 2, to truly establish a flourishing democracy, transparency and accountability must be strictly adhered to in governance. 3, we urge the ruling All Progressives Congress Party and other political parties to take decisive action in purging its ranks by denouncing and breaking support with their members who are currently being investigated by anti-corruption agencies. 4, adequate resource allocation to the anti-corruption agencies has become imperative to uphold their independence and enhance efficiency in the anti-corruption process.
They further urged the Inspector General of Police to promptly reinstate the police personnel withdrawn from the Kano State Anti-Corruption Commission so as not to stall the commission from executing its duties effectively. In Abuja for News Central, I am Joshua Imarayi.
As part of ongoing efforts to improve trade operations, increase revenue, and ensure ease of doing business in and around the ports, the Nigeria Customs Service has launched an initiative to improve business experience. The Comptroller General of Customs, Adewale Adeniyi, during a stakeholders meeting on Thursday in the nation's capital, Abuja, said that the program, which is part of other innovations already developed, will boost the nation's revenue drive and foster economic growth. Marvelous Obomanu reports.
Trade facilitation in Nigeria has always remained a problem, frustrating entrepreneurs and large business communities from effortlessly carrying out entrepreneurial activities without hitches. However, to address these shortcomings, the Nigeria Customs Service has launched a program called Advanced Ruling, which aims to redefine the processes involved in either importing and exporting goods and services using the ports.
We need to put in place concrete measures to facilitate trade. And we also discovered, we share this concern with them because we believe that if we facilitate trade, it will have impacts on revenue. So this is why we have brought in a number of these initiatives. Advanced ruling is just one of them. We are already finalizing our plans towards the Authorized Economic Operator Program. We're conducting a TRS to know where delays exist in the clearance chain.
The Nigeria Customs Service says it intends to rake in 5.07 trillion naira revenue at the end of 2024. Daring as such projection can be, the service said such innovation as this will help the agency inch closer to achieving that big dream.
This is one of the initiatives. I mean, if we facilitate trade, we are going to increase the turnover of business. We're going to increase the turnaround period for them. There are a lot of other initiatives that we are doing to ensure that, we meet these targets. Internally, we are also making efforts to see how we can review these targets, to see whether we can actually go beyond what government has given us. It's an ongoing process, and I'm very optimistic that we would do it.
Stakeholders commended the initiative, expressing willingness to contribute their own quota.
We are partnering with Customs, supporting them to implement this advanced ruling. It is their product, it is their process, but we want to support them going forward in the implementation now, because a lot of stakeholder awareness creation has to be done. So we need to speak with the industry, we need to speak with all the stakeholders that are part of the process to understand the advanced ruling so that the ease of doing business or importation into Nigeria will be much better.
Before this initiative, the Nigeria Customs Service says that in 2024, it had launched a time-release study to advance the nation's trading experience through innovation. In Abuja for News Central, Marvelous Obomano.
Resident doctors at the Federal Teaching Hospital Lokoja on Thursday protested over shortage of manpower and alleged obnoxious policies introduced by the management of the hospital led by Dr. Olatunde Alabi. The protesting doctors carried placards with various inscriptions such as, quote, "They want to work, not to work and die," quote, "Stop using no work, no pay to threaten us," end quote. The Federal Teaching Hospital Lokoja doctors also call for an end to doctors' casualties. The Association of Resident Doctors, Federal Teaching Hospital Lokoja, protested around the hospital premises to register their grievances against the management of the hospital. Coming up, President Boakai signs order to set up war crimes tribunal. We'll bring you more details after the break. Stay with us. As you're watching news now on News Central TV, the Federal Capital Territory Administration has requested cooperation with the Hungarian government in the agricultural and security sectors. Now, this was as the Minister of the Federal Capital Territory met with the Consulate General for Hungary in Nigeria, saying the administration is open to cooperation and collaboration. Amadin Uyi reports.
It was a visit by the Consulate General of Hungary in Nigeria to the Minister of the Federal Capital Territory, Nyesom Wike. The Consulate General expressed the willingness of Hungarian companies to invest in Nigeria.
Hungarian companies are very much interested in two things, basically. One is the security you are fighting with.
The minister, while commending the long-standing relationship with Hungary, says that the administration will partner with the Hungarian government in the procurement of drones to support efforts aimed at combating insecurity.
Security has been an issue, but by the grace of God, we've been able to reduce the level of insecurity. You can attest to the fact that Abuja is safer now.
Yes,
because
indeed.
of the way we have been able to tackle the issue. It is a part of our procurement process to have drones. So the security people who are in charge, I will let them have a discussion with our people so that they will identify the type of drones that will be effective and efficient in our own area and what we intend to use them, which areas we would like to use them.
He also says that he is hopeful Nigeria and Hungary can collaborate in agriculture.
Also, the issue of agriculture is very key. I know I've been to Budapest.
Yes, I remember.
I've been to Budapest, and I know that Hungary is one of the countries that also focus on agriculture.
It's true. It's true.
My own idea is we can collaborate and partner, like we said, in terms of PPP. We are willing to provide land, and then if you are willing to come over here to see what you can do, so it will become a symbiotic relationship.
The minister assured the Consulate General of the FCT administration's willingness to tap from their wealth of knowledge in these sectors. In Abuja for News Central, I am Amadin Uyi.
And on to Liberia, where the President Joseph Boakai has signed an executive order to set up a long-awaited war crimes court more than 2 decades after the end of the country's devastating civil wars. The order is a major step towards establishing the tribunal, which Boakai said would help to bring justice and closure. About 250,000 people died in Liberia's two civil wars between 1989 and 2003. The conflicts saw widespread atrocities, including mass killings, rape, and the forced recruitment of child soldiers. Some in Liberia have opposed the court's creation, saying it risks reopening old wounds. And on to South Africa, ahead of its elections, the Umkhonto weZizwe party says former South African President Jacob Zuma will honor summons by the ruling African National Conference. The ANC on Thursday announced it had served Zuma with a notice to appear before its disciplinary panel after he declared support for a rival party in this year's general election. Zuma is now the leader and face of the MK party, and he has been campaigning for the party ahead of May elections, and he was suspended from ANC in January. An MP, or rather MK party spokesperson, said Zuma is not a coward and would attend the hearing scheduled for next Tuesday. Away from that now, BRICS say that the formation of a new currency in the global markets to challenge the U.S. dollar's supremacy is at an advanced stage. The alliance says its aim is to uproot the U.S. dollar from the world's reserve and replace it with the new BRICS currency. The battle to dominate the financial sector kick-started after the White House pressed sanctions on Russia and other developing countries. Meanwhile, a handful of countries in Asia, Africa, and Latin America are considering cutting ties from the U.S. dollar. Analysts say ditching U.S. will affect economies from many countries. Earlier, we were joined on the news by Professor Bunke Dumisa, an independent economist from Durban, South Africa.
This will work. BRICS has just released a report where they report that they've been able to have more than $260 worth of international trade without using the US dollar. The reason why it is important for countries to follow this, we call it the de-dollarization process. The reason why they want to de-dollarize their trade, it is because America and its allies have been weaponizing the US dollar, where America is fighting its many proxy wars, and that affected the BRICS countries. And in South Africa, we know very well that in May 2023, their ambassador to South Africa said something nasty about South Africa, and the rand lost its value immediately.
Kenya and Tanzania are bracing for a cyclone on the heels of torrential rains that have devastated East Africa, killing more than 350 people and forcing tens of thousands from their homes. In addition to claiming 188 lives in Kenya since March, the floods have displaced 165,000 people, with 90 reported missing, the Interior Ministry said, as the government wants citizens to remain on alert. The coastal region is likely to experience Cyclone Hidaya, which will result in heavy rainfall, large waves, and strong winds that could affect marine activities in the Indian Ocean. Neighboring Tanzania, where at least 155 people have been killed in flooding and landslides, is also expected to feel the force of Hidaya. Away from that now to Mauritania, where its Islamist opposition party said its leader would be standing in the presidential election scheduled for June 29th, the first time it has fielded a candidate for the post in 15 years. Hamadine Ould Said al-Mukhtar will represent the National Rally for Reform and Development, also known as Tawaso, which was legalized in 2007 and has since become the leading opposition party in the Mauritanian parliament with 11 out of 176 MPs. Tawaso boycotted the 2014 presidential election and supported a candidate from outside its ranks in 2019. Incumbent president is the favorite to win the June poll after announcing he would stand for a second term on April 24th. You're watching News Now on News Central TV. Still ahead, 29 dead, 60 missing in Roy Grande do Sul floods. We'll bring you details after the break. Don't go anywhere. The continuous rains that have hit Rio Grande do Sul in southern Brazil for a week have left at least 29 dead and 60 missing in the state's worst climate disaster. The images throughout the region are catastrophic. Huge surfaces completely flooded, rivers washing away bridges and roads, as well as spectacular rescues of people on roofs are about to be swept away by flood waters. The governor of the state, in a live broadcast, said the current record of 60 missing people may also grow because of difficulties accessing locations that are isolated. The floods are concentrated in the center of the state, where 154 towns have been affected.
Essa natural daqui, então assim, eu me sinto lesada por todos os que moram aqui. É muito triste, é lamentável tudo isso que está acontecendo. É de doer o coração.
Eu vim aqui para ajudar o pessoal aí, para tirar o pessoal da enchente, né? Que tá brabo lá para baixo, né? Tá muito perigoso, muita correnteza para baixo. E eu trouxe um barco de 6 metros, um motor de 15, né? Aí temos tirando o pessoal aí agora.
Dozens of students have set up camp at the National Autonomous University of Mexico in solidarity with Palestinians and against Israel's war with Hamas in Gaza. The protest comes amidst weeks of turmoil, clashes with police, and mass arrests in student protests on college campuses in the United States.
Para apoyar, ¿no? a Palestina, a la gente que está en Palestina, a los campamentos de Estados Unidos.
Creo que también es en apoyo a nuestros hermanos que están reprimiendo con violencia en Francia, en Alemania, en Estados Unidos, en más de 60 universidades en Estados Unidos. Pues justo lo que se busca es hacer como un efecto dominó.
Intentar parar el genocidio, parar de ver todos estos videos terroríficos que veo todos los días sobre mi celular, uniéndome aquí a este movimiento para exigir con una voz.
The defense ministers of the U.S., Australia, Japan, and Philippines have held a joint news conference in Honolulu, Hawaii, over a water cannon incident involving China that damaged 2 Philippine vessels during a patrol in the South China Sea. U.S. Defense Secretary Lloyd Austin said behavior that leads to the injuring of Filipino crew and damaged vessels in the South China Sea was irresponsible and disregards international laws.
Regarding our treaty with the Philippines, we've been very clear to everyone, to include Beijing, that the kind of behavior that we've seen where Filipino crews are put in danger, where sailors have been injured and property damage, that's irresponsible behavior and it disregards international law.
Our jobs as secretaries is to make sure that there are no situations through capability building, through deterrence, that an MDT situation would arise. And so we are very conscious of the fact that we need to assert our rights, but in a manner that safeguards the safety of each and every member of the Philippine Armed Force.
The Nigerian federal government says it will stop granting licenses to gas companies with no capacity to build pipelines for gas distribution. This, the government said, became necessary to discourage the transportation of compressed natural gas through the roads. The Minister of State for Petroleum Gas, and that is Ekbarikwi Ekpo, made this disclosure while visiting Abeokuta for an on-the-spot assessment of the CNG explosion at Ita, Oshun. Earlier, we were joined on the news by Dr. Chinan Dikwal, Vice Chairman, the African Energy Council. Heart of Lions coach Bashir Hayfort has found himself in hot water as he faces charges of misconduct from the disciplinary committee of the Ghana Football Association. The incident leading to the punishment occurred during his team's match against Bacham United on March Day 28, which ended in a 1-1 draw. Hayford and his players stormed onto the field, temporarily halting play. Hayford brought a sit onto the pitch, citing misconduct by fans as the reason for his actions. The coach said he and his players were subjected to unacceptable behavior, including having urine poured on them and objects thrown at them by fans. In response to the incident, 7 Bacham United officials are also set to face the committee over allegations of attacking match officials, with the club itself also facing charges. Bashir Hayford has until Monday, May 6th, to respond to the charge. And away from that now to Europa League, where Bayern Leverkusen claimed a 2-0. It is now 47. President Boakai signed order to set up war crimes tribunal in Liberia. Kenya, Tanzania brace for Cyclone Hidaya amidst heavy rains. Now remember that you can send us your eyewitness report to the WhatsApp number now showing on your screen. And do make sure to follow us on social media. We are at News Central TV. And you can also watch News Central live on DSTV channel 422, StarTime channel 274, Avo TV, and YouTube. Many thanks for watching. I am Judith at TV.